Hello, I am Daisy, and today we are going to learn the symbols on the Empress and a quick read right side up and upside down. So thank you for joining me on my channel here. So most likely you are on my I Want to Learn Tarot playlist. So the Fool, walking along, just had a nice chat with the High Priestess, and after a wonderful conversation and learning a little bit more, becoming a little wiser, I hope, decides to take off on his journey and moves along and comes across the Empress. So what are some of the things that are going to be acquired here by this Empress as the Fool journeys on towards enlightenment? Well, let's find out. And again, as you could see, I have the Waite Raider deck here, and depending on the different cards that you use, you can see that there's different symbols that you can draw from. Here, this is from the Everyday Tarot, and some aspects, very minimalist type of card. So we're gonna see some of the similarities. Here's your Rider-Waite deck, and of course this is my professional edition. I'm just going to use it to look at. So we start off and we're going to look at the aspects of the numbers, which is the aspect of numerology and the association that it may have with the astrological signs. So each one of these are have an association with a planet, and then of course all the symbols that we have here. So let's dive into the number 3 is the first thing that we see on this card. So when we think of the number 3, and this is where I would say get yourself a numerology book or do a little Googling and study upon the basic numbers of 0 through 9, because it will give you an idea and make these references and associations, and it will make you a better reader for your querent if you're doing this professionally, and for you as well. Okay, so now when we're looking at the number 3, we're thinking of knowledge, we're thinking about wisdom, we're thinking about communication. So when we think about, like, when we were in the number 2, we were in that aspect of duality, but now when that third element comes in, now we really need to beef up our communication, and we're getting more knowledge. So that's how that association can be made for you when you think about number 2 is just 2 people, their own ideas. But then when you get the third element in, now you got more information, something to work with. Now we've got to become even better communicators, right? Okay, so the other thing with the Empress, she is associated with the planet Venus. And Venus is all about pleasures and luxury and living the good life. So when we see the Empress, we see she's surrounded by all this nature. She's surrounded by bounty. So she's definitely all about the good life. Additionally, one thing, now let's keep going into some more of this. Oh, and in the zodiac, she is associated with the earth element. So knowing what we get from the earth elements, that's stability, that's being pragmatic, and they're unwavering. So when you have these elements for a person, making that association, these elements are important to remember as well. So the other thing that we have here, when we look at this beautiful Empress, she's got this magnificent crown on her head. And so when we're thinking about the crown, it's already letting us know that there is authority in this person. There is a sense of authority, and it's referencing that this person has the authority to do whatever they're set there to do. And the other thing is her pose. Now that we're talking about authority, we see this sense of a relaxed type of pose. It's this confidence that whatever she puts her mind to and whatever she utters, her commands will be done. They will be done. And when you see that, it's a sense that people love her and that people are not taken back by this authority. And so that's kind of one thing that we sense. Not like we saw from the High Priestess. That High Priestess had the sense of like a little standoffish in a way, but like I'm not going to share everything with you, but I am here in this capacity, I have this divine connection. And but now with the Empress, we have this earthy feeling, going back to the elements. We have these feelings and this warm and welcoming feeling that we have. So if you notice, when you look at the different decks, like in this particular small deck that I have here, we have a sense of what? Fertility, that she is, she's with child. So there's a sense of abundance there. There's a sense of, there's more there as well. So that's coming across from seeing that image on this little card. Okay, so then let's come back to the other things that's jumping at us here. The other element is the scepter again. So now we're having more references of this authority. She has also the ability to wield with her scepter at this. So, and as we can see that she is the first on the Fool's journey. On the Fool's journey, we see that this is the first person that he comes across where there is this sense of authority, as far as with a scepter in their hand and the crown. So it's that sense that there is a ruler over the land, and it's this individual here. Okay, so a couple other things that we need to see as depicted on these three cards differently is, in this card we see what seems to be depicted in this card, the Rider-Waite deck, but not in this deck, is the pomegranate again, which is interesting. When we're looking at this deck, do we interpret that she has something in her hand, like is that a scepter type of thing, or is that she's got the fruit of the world in her hand to offer? So it's different ways how you want to interpret this. Here, definitely on these two decks, there is this sense of authority and wielding that with the scepter, that she has got command over her kingdom. Or in this sense, that because she's got this fruit, she can supply the needs to her kingdom. And with the stars over her as a crown, that divine inspiration, that gentle authority that she has over her people. And so that's kind of a different way. So different, you see how different you can pull the different symbols from each card. So it's important that you look at all the cards so that you can draw the meaning and the feeling from each one. Of course, one thing that I like is that the more symbols you have, the more you can draw from. But then there's different cards that have different symbols that you're like, okay, I've got to really look this up so that I can give a good reading. Then the sense in these two cards is this flowing river. And back in here, you could distinctly see the river back here, as you can see. And with that, it's this need of staying connected with your journey, this sense of emotionally being invested in what your purpose is, not to lose focus of this purpose in your life, and which is just something that may happen, for the Fool, if he gets too excited about, things in life and gets distracted. So this is really important. And we'll see this theme of this water rolling through the Fool's journey depicted in many of the cards. Just kind of wanted to share about that crown. Here in these two, we see that there are stars, but in this one, it's just a pompous, nice, poofy crown. So just wanted to show you the differences that we have in the decks again. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and kind of, if this card showed up in a reading, how would we explain some of the symbolism in a reading when it shows right side up? Well, here, definitely I would say this person has an appreciation for life. This person is connected with nature and definitely appreciates all the bounty that life has to give. And this is the time for you to do that. The time is now. The time is here for you to enjoy what life is revealing to you now. Enjoy the things that are showing up in your life. Don't miss out, because once it's gone, it's not going to come back. So enjoy this time that is here for you, and just take it all in, all the passion, all the abundance, all this connection with your own self. Now, when it shows up in the reverse, this is about maybe you are not prioritizing yourself. Maybe you are neglecting this. Maybe you're not connecting with nature. And maybe this is the time that you should focus on coming back to you. Focus on what it is that you want in your life, and work on it so that you can have something to harvest in the future. Make sense? So now, as we explore this, and the Fool has had an opportunity to really have all this enjoyment and just enjoy this sense of abundance with this beautiful Empress, and takes a whole new meaning about life and the thing that he's doing and enjoying these things, and is really now, what's the next thing? And who is he going to come across along on his journey as he goes off for this adventure? And guess who it is? The Emperor. So go ahead, check out my next video to learn about the Emperor.